Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the 9:30 call. It's great to see over 100 people immediately off the bat joining us. Just a reminder, we are recording this call and we often remove AI because we are recording them. And we put the calls, the recordings on our YouTube channel. And we are so excited to have Excel Linguistics with us today to translate into Spanish and Portuguese. So I'll turn things right over to Julian from Excel.
Thank you, Amy. Good morning to everyone. It is a pleasure for us to be here in the 9:30 call, providing interpretation services. This morning we have interpretation available in Spanish and also in Portuguese. So in just a moment, you will see this globe icon next to the word interpretation. You will find this at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you click on that globe, you can select your language. If you have joined from a cell phone or tablet, look for the three dots button on your screen next to the word more. From there, you will see interpretation is an option in the list to choose a language. An important reminder, everyone has to select a language and stay in the channel. Now I will turn it over to Jimena to repeat that in Spanish.
Buenos días. Esta mañana tenemos servicios de interpretación en inglés y en español. En un momento, cuando estos inicien, usted verá que aparecerá el icono de un globo en la parte inferior de su pantalla. Si le da clic, podrá seleccionar el idioma en el que quiere participar. Si usted se está uniendo a través de un celular o de una tableta, por favor, busque los tres puntitos junto a la palabra más o more, seleccione Language Interpretation y le aparecerá una lista con las opciones de los idiomas en los que ustedes podrán participar. Como recordatorio, independientemente del idioma que usted hable, es muy importante que seleccione uno y permanezca en ese canal. Gracias.
Thanks, Jimena. Dora, can you please repeat that in Portuguese?
Sure. Bom dia, sejam todos bem-vindos na nossa reunião das 9h30 da manhã. Nós vamos estar disponibilizando serviços de interpretação em espanhol e português. Para você selecionar o seu idioma, clique no globo na parte inferior da tela, Language Interpretation, e selecione o seu idioma. Se você está acessando de um celular ou de um tablet, clique nos três pontinhos junto à palavra More e assim você pode selecionar o idioma da sua preferência. Lembramos que todos devem selecionar o seu idioma e permanecer no canal selecionado. Muito obrigada.
Thank you, Dora. And interpretation is available now. Back to you, Amy.
Thanks so much, Julian, and to everybody at Excel. We are so fortunate to have such an incredible partner in this work. And we know that everybody cannot join us at 9:30 in the morning. But we also know that we have the 3 recordings of the 3 languages on our YouTube, and we encourage folks to send the emails with the recording information so folks who can't join us at 9:30 in the morning. We also know that tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. is the 9:30 call in Espanol, and this week we have our first ever double header where Diana Figueroa was here in the morning, and she will be on the 9:30 call in Espanol tomorrow night. For Mass Development, sharing more information about the Family Child Care Facilities Grant. So it's the same 9:30 call link, and we're excited for Paula, Harold, and Neri tomorrow to be hosting that call. Commissioner Kershaw, as you get started, I must say that I have learned something this week. I had the opportunity to check in with Paul Belcito because I had questions about the public hearing last week. I was surprised not to see the board there because I thought it was a board meeting. But then Paul said, no, it was not a board meeting. It was a public comment period. And so I think I just want to make sure I said that out loud as somebody who's committed to continuous learning. But so that was interesting for me to we were in Chicago, we logged in, and Eugenia, you did an incredible job of moderating that. But we also know that that's kind of a different setting than we're used to. We're so lucky to have this give and take here on the 9:30 call, but that public comment period was very different. So, Commissioner, I'm sure you have a lot of updates. I just wanted to kind of set the record straight that I think I was wrong in assuming it was a board meeting. So I'll turn things over to you for the update.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, 9:30 callers. Special good morning to 413 representing in the chat. So I'm looking forward to being out in 413 next week for the launch of the Itsy Bitsy Child Watch Center at Holyoke Community College. And then I think we'll be getting out there again to see some new facilities at Square One soon. So looking forward to some 413 time for sure. We do have a lot of updates, and I'm happy to start with the C3 and kind of explain a little bit. For those of you who did have an opportunity to participate in the public hearing on C3, it had a really different feel. And I want to reiterate, Amy, Eugenia's absolutely masterclass work in managing that public comment period. So what I want to do this morning is we had a board meeting last week, and most of what was on that board meeting you all have heard about at some point over the summer. So thought I would spend some time on some other updates, touch a little bit on what we did at the board meeting, and just kick off the season. We are off and running. And it's going to be a busy fall, but an exciting fall for us. And I think we're really starting to see some of the key initiatives that all of us have worked on over the last several years really hitting and taking hold. So let me start with C3. Most of you are aware that we had a special board meeting in August. There's a new statutory requirement that when the board makes changes or establishes a formula for the C3 program, Commonwealth Cares for Children, and the formula guides how much funding goes to each program based on a number of factors: the number of children served, the age of those children, the number of children that are receiving child care financial assistance, the location of the program. So a combination of factors that we've been using. And there's a new requirement in law that when that formula gets established or changed, we have to do a public comment period, which is not a board meeting, but a very formal process dictated by the Secretary of State. And it is not an interactive conversation. So unlike here at the 9:30 call, or many of the listening sessions that Eugenia is often hosting for the agency, it is a place for the agency to just listen. And I know, so we make that time available for folks to come in and give verbal testimony or comments about whatever it is that we have public comment about. We'll have one coming up on our residential regulations soon. And this one happened to be on the C3 formula. So for those of you who were on, I did get to listen afterwards too. So I know that there was interest in sort of dialogue and opportunity for conversation. And that's just not how that formal process is set up. So for those of you who may have been frustrated by it, especially with Eugenia there, who was always so responsive and answering questions, and that was not the role that she had that evening, even though she played it very masterfully. So if there are, we closed the public comment period on Friday. We received more than 200 comments, either in writing or through the public comment period and the hearing. And that information is going to be used. We are summarizing it now. We will make it available. We will be presenting kind of a high level review of that information at the October board meeting. And we'll use that to inform both this year and as we continue to grow and mature and make changes to that program as it becomes permanent part of the ecosystem here in Massachusetts. We will use all of that feedback and continue to just receive and are open to additional feedback. So if folks have things they didn't get to say or questions they wanted to ask, I know Eugenia would be happy to hear from you. And we can make sure to try and create new opportunities and other opportunities following the board meeting. If there's additional need or interesting comments, we can come here for a dedicated conversation around C3 as well. So thank you to those of you who participated. Thank you again to Eugenia. We will get used to these formal public comment periods as we continue to make changes to our regulations First, our residential regulations, family childcare, our center-based regulations. We will continue to have these public comment periods. So we'll get used to spending time together in those kind of formal settings, as well as creating more informal opportunities for feedback as we move along.
Thanks for that, Amy. I can remember when the department was first created, and one of the first board meetings had a very similar vibe where the board was sitting around talking to each other, and people were like, excuse me, raising their hands, and really we had to learn. We were watching the board meeting, even though it's a public meeting. It's like you said, it's not interactive. So thank you so much for that update and explanation.
Even the public comment period during the board meeting is not set up for an interactive, which is why it's so important that we have other places that we can do that, like here. Grateful to you all for that. And then, we're often setting up targeted focus groups or working groups around specific topics. And that's a commitment we have. You make us better. And our commitment is to do the work as we continue transformation and reforms, to do it in partnership, obviously, with those who are doing the work.
There is a question in the chat from Donna Danette about, can you frame the number of comments in terms of expectation? Like, did you expect to get 200 comments?
Yeah, I mean, we're thrilled that we received 200 comments. The more, the better. I don't think we had a specific expectation, but we did feel that this was, even though we have been engaging at the 9:30 call and in many other places to talk about C3, as this program has become permanent and we begin to make changes to it, we have created a lot of spaces for feedback and input. But I'm happy to see this program be codified in statute and state law. And the public comment period also brings a level of transparency and sort of permanence to the program. So we were thrilled to have 200. I don't know that we had an expectation going in, but I think that level of engagement, and of course, a testament to you, Amy, and your outreach and others who made sure that the stakeholders in their worlds had an opportunity to participate as well. We can put the link in for public comment, but that public comment period is now formally closed. So that's the other thing about public comment periods, is that they have a sort of a start and an end date, which is not the same as our willingness to hear from folks. So if you do have additional comments, please reach out to Eugenia. And again, I think once we've had a chance to kind of summarize what we've learned, happy to come back here and have that conversation. Right. Oh, it closed last Friday. Sorry, I should have been specific. It was Friday the 12th at 5 p.m. Yeah, it's a very controlled process, but it's part of the public policy development process. And again, I think that's a great thing for the Commonwealth Cares for Children program. So a couple of other updates. We will hear about C3 at the October board meeting. The other big agenda for the October board meeting, just as a preview, is we have been working very hard with our partners across the state on reforms and revisions to the regulations that govern our residential and group home programs. And so we're going to be excited to present those changes, and we'll be seeking the board's approval to send those regulations out for public comment. So it is a fall of public comment opportunities. So hopefully you'll participate in that as well. Okay, a few other updates. Now, at the board meeting, we talked about things that this group has already had an opportunity to weigh in to some extent. So we talked about the FY26 budget, and I know we've had a chance to talk about that here, but I know Eugenia will put the link in to the board meeting before I could even ask her to do it, so that you can see what was presented there. We also talked a little bit about the Career Pathways program. Many of you may be aware that that program, which was about $10 million 2 years ago, was funded at $3 million, but we're very committed to making sure there's continuity in the Career Pathways program. So the board took action to make sure that we could fill in some of the gaps. We're going to be funding that program at $7.5 million, as long as we get agreement from the board and Department of Higher Ed, which we expect. And And I just want to recognize Sarah Siam. I think she's on this call, and our partners across the community colleges. We've been working really closely with them. Most of you are aware that there is new resources in our community college spaces. So Free Community College, Mass Reconnect. And part of the work we've been doing is making sure that we are tailoring those career pathway resources to fill in the gap where the free community college resources are not available. So if it's taking one course, or someone who might not be eligible for higher education scholarships or are not completing FAFSAs, the Career Pathways provides a really important entry into our higher education system. And so Sarah has been working very closely with our community college partners to make sure that we retain that important bridge into the higher education system. So we will continue to support and promote that program as we continue to build the pathway. We want people to enter school if that's what they choose, and to be able to continue on, whether it's accessing our higher education scholarships or the career pathways. I also wanted to mention that tomorrow night we have a session, an open session on the higher education scholarship program. So Eugenia, can you drop that in the chat too? So if you're interested in finding out more information about the scholarship program that we run in partnership with the board and Department of Higher Ed, again, we are working to weave these resources together: career pathways, free community college, and then our higher education scholarship, to ensure that we're supporting people along their education continuum. So that information session, I'm really thrilled. I think this may be, that program I think started in 2006, the higher education scholarship program. And I think this may be the first year that we have spent every penny
Wow.
on eligible students. And in partnership with all of you, we've made changes to that program, expanded what we can pay for, expanded the majors that are allowable, opened it up to our staff working in our residential programs, and really wanting to make sure that we're maximizing all of those resources for folks who are eligible. So happy to see that happening as well.
There is a question about any news related to grants for college courses in other languages.
Maybe that is a conversation. I do believe we have made progress in that in partnership with our community colleges, but maybe you want to host another session on career pathways here.
That'd be great.
Where we can talk about that kind of in more detail. And I'm sure Sarah Cian would be happy to come back and share updates on that.
Thanks.
Okay. The other thing we talked about at the board meeting was that we had a great update from the interagency task force. Now, I know on July 31st, you all had the task force come here. We had a little bit more time at the board meeting, so I'm going to encourage you to take a look at the recording of that if you're interested in hearing a little bit more detail from the project team and some of the progress that's been made in that task force over the last year. So I'm not going to go into detail on that, but just to say that I think we've spent a lot of time focused on sort of what's EEC working on, and what are we making sure the task force is working on that's bringing in the resources from across state government. And the project team that's been focused on that has been doing a great job moving resources along. And so there are two I wanted to at least to highlight here. One is the Family Child Care Capital Grants, and you had Diana Figueroa here. We had a wonderful event at the Guild of St. Agnes, where we were celebrating the first round of those first ever Family Child Care Capital Grants and announcing the second round, which will be available starting on October 1st. We received 1,600 applications for the first round of grants. We awarded 157, so we know the demand is high. We awarded about 2.5 million in this first round, and there's 4 million available. So I just want to encourage those of you who might not have been successful in the first round to please apply again. I think there's technical assistance available for folks on your applications. So pretty exciting. The other, and we've been doing that in partnership with our colleagues at Mass Development, and have just been really, really grateful for that partnership. They have been very user focused, kind of responding to the needs of our small business community, and really tailoring those grants specifically to the experience of our family child care providers. So grateful for our partnership there. And Diana has been an amazing partner in that area as well. The other partnership I wanted to highlight is around apprenticeships. So many of you may have seen that that the Division of Apprenticeship Standards within the Executive Office of Labor and Workforce Development received a $6 million grant for new apprentices. It's going to be at least 275 new apprentices able to participate as a result. It's the largest ever grant received by the Division of Apprenticeship Standards, and we now have 8 early education and care apprenticeships, registered apprenticeships happening across the Commonwealth, and it is the largest growing sector for apprenticeships in the Commonwealth, and we are incredibly proud of that partnership and the work that we're doing, and the apprentices who are doing the hard work to increase their skills, and it's really supporting building a pipeline for both existing staff as well as staff who are interested in coming into the field. So we do think the apprenticeships is a great model. One of the other things I just wanted to mention and sort of express gratitude for is we've been working closely with Strategies for Children and the Commonwealth Children's Fund, who have funded a new early childhood policy fellowship in Massachusetts. And I just want to recognize this work because it is both providing opportunities for those who are interested in early childhood policy management, and giving opportunities for recent college or graduate school who are interested in early graduate students who are interested in early childhood, and giving them real opportunities. It is also providing additional capacity. So we are very fortunate at the department that we have 2 new policy fellows who will be with us for 20 months. And I see Regina Tabe here, and Ariana Burnham may also be on. And I know there are also fellows at Edward Street and at the East Boston Social Centers and with Strategies for Children. And it is both an opportunity for folks to build leadership and policy skills within the field, and also an opportunity to build new capacity at each of our agencies. And I think it is a fantastic model. And I just want to express my gratitude for the Commonwealth Children's Fund for recognizing sort of the broad set of supports that our field needs to grow and change. Amy, I don't know if you want to say anything about the fellowship.
Sure.
Or if you had a chance to talk about it here as well.
We've been like slow launching this in the 9:30 call,
Sorry.
but I think no, we're going to officially announce it next week with an announcement. But this is a 20-month embedded full-time job fellowship. So the fellows will be in organizations for 20 months. As Amy said, building the organization's capacities. We also have hired a fellowship coordinator, Ann Kaufman, who will kind of create and cultivate a community of learning for the 5 inaugural fellows. I have to shout out Titus Remedius. This was an idea that he and I have had for a long time. Commonwealth Children's Fund was in on it. For those of you who don't know, Amy Kershaw and I met way back in the 2000s to the Emerging Leaders Fellowship at the Children's Defense Fund. And so this has always been something very close to my heart, that we would have opportunities for people. We've seen it with our interns. We have had 40 interns since in the last 5 years. And to not have policy jobs available for people after they graduate has been challenging. So we want to kind of build the pipeline, build opportunities. Yesterday was many of the fellows, like first day of the second week, and we were at the State House doing a briefing with the Mass Taxpayers Foundation. They met House Education Chair Ken Gordon. And so we are so excited. We will do an official announcement next week. We will feature all of the fellows on the 9:30 call on our Early Childhood blog, but we are so excited about this. And that it went from an idea to reality in pretty short order, in about 4 months.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think, we at the agency, have been committed for a very long time also to the idea of building leaders in the field at all levels, at the program level and the policy realm. And so to be able to participate directly in something like this and to have it funded formally, and then for the agency to be able to host two fellows, I think is wonderful for us. So we are all in and incredibly grateful to be part of this fellowship work. Two quick things. I know we're right at time here. One is we did have an opportunity to work with the board, and I know many of you had an opportunity to speak with Emily Connor-Simons at our advisory and workforce council meetings around our 5-year strategic action plan. So I'm going to ask Eugenia just to pop in the chat the slide deck that we used at the advisory and workforce councils. If you haven't had a chance to look at kind of our 5-year strategic priorities and the work streams that we've identified, it is really the agency's approach to this new 5-year strategic action plan that we have much of the work underway that we need to be doing in our system, whether it's on workforce, program stability, reforming childcare financial assistance, building the infrastructure at the agency, and supporting quality. And so our strategy around the next 5 years is let's go deeper and further. Let's work on execution and growth. And so if you haven't had a chance, I just want to encourage you to take a look at those slides. And Eugenia would be happy to hear from any of you if there's something that you feel like is missing. We will be working on drafting that strategic action plan and bringing it to the board during this fall. So you'll have another opportunity to see it over the course of the fall. And the last thing I'll say is I'm very excited to be in Hyannis with Clarendon this evening. We are launching a new family childcare system network down on the Cape to build capacity in what is a pretty significant childcare desert. So I know I see Margaret McDonald, and I want to thank you for your leadership. And I just think this is a really, it's an opportunity for us to celebrate. But what is represented here is our building infrastructure to grow capacity for families in Cape Cod who have really struggled with access to care. So thank you for your willingness to partner with us on this. And I'll look forward to seeing you this evening. And we will be tracking growth opportunities for families and providers out on the Cape. So it's 10:01. Sorry, the time always goes so fast, and I feel like I have so many things I want to tell you, and then I miss the opportunity to hear from all of you. But
Well,
thank you so much, Jane. Yeah.
We have a lot of action in the chat, and I said that our 9:30 call community continues to lead with love, appreciation, and solutions-based thinking and action. So thanks everybody for that. We really do appreciate you, Commissioner, coming on the call, and really having the time for updates. And I think, and creating the culture of this back and forth of, and we also know how important the chats are, that I send you the chat, that you read the chat, that you keep the chat so that you can see both the questions and kind of where people are, as well as some of the appreciation. The commissioner is booked on the 9:30 call from now until June, once a month. So I thank you, especially Jackie Foley, for having your calendar lined up. And we will continue. And I think I really appreciate, Amy, also the opportunities for deeper dives. So if it's career pathways and maybe one of the sharing the mics, we can also collect some other topics that folks want to go deeper, through. The presentation that Victoria gave yesterday, we did kind of a 101, especially around CCFA, was excellent. So we want to plan that as well. The briefing yesterday was really geared for legislators and staff, but we want to kind of do that event also for the 9:30 call community and beyond, because it was so helpful to see. And I think that's it. So the next board meeting is October. We also, I think, are going to invite Chair Belcito to join us on the 9:30 call to hear a little bit more from him. And I think that's it. We just are so appreciative of your leadership, Commissioner, and the EEC team. You are always thanking and acknowledging the team, and we want to do the same. And thank you. October 15th is the next board meeting. We will see you then. So don't forget the 9:30 call at night in Espanol tomorrow night with Diana Figueroa. And we will see everyone next time. Thanks, Commissioner.
Thanks, everyone.
It's like the old days with everybody on Zoom waving goodbye. Have a great day.